Hello everybody and welcome to the next lecture, which is for Razor syntax. Now, first of all, what is Razor? Basically, Razor is a markup syntax for embedding server-based code into our web pages. The Razor syntax consists of Razor markup, C# and HTML code. File containing Razor generally have .cs HTML file extensions. In the project that I have created, Razor syntax, we can open views, home folder, and as well shared, and we can see that here we got multiple files with extension .cs HTML. Basically, these files, all of them are with some Razor code. Now, if I open, let's say, index.cs HTML, I will remove all the code that we have here. Now, how can I just render some HTML? Well, I'm saying the normal HTML paragraph, hello world. Let me build that. So the default Razor language is HTML, and rendering HTML from Razor is no different than in an HTML file. Okay, and here what we receive. So you can see that a Razor file with following markup is rendered unchanged as paragraph from hello world by the server. Now about the Razor syntax, Razor supports C# and use @ symbol to transition from HTML to C#. Razor evaluates C# expressions and render them in the HTML output. Razor can transition from HTML to C# or into Razor-specific markup. When the symbol is followed by Razor reserved keyword, it transitions into Razor-specific markup, otherwise it transitions into plain C#. Now, HTML containing @ symbol may need to be escaped with second symbol. For example, if we have a paragraph and I want to say, I actually want to have in my name username, but @ username now this is a C#. So if I add it twice, 2 times, then actually now this will be rendered as normal C# as normal HTML. Here building it. Okay, and here we got @ username. So that's basically how we can escape it. But if we render it with only @ username, then this actually is becoming a C# code. And here, when I refresh, we receive an error occurred during the compilation of resource required to process this request. Please review the following specific error details and modify your source code appropriately. Now, what's the problem? The problem is that when I say @ username, it's looking for C# variable with name username. So, let me comment this code. Now we got implicit Razor expressions. Implicit Razor expressions start with @ and followed by C# code. For example, I can have paragraph with starting @ and I'll say datetime.now. So that's basically, as you can see, normal C# code, which starts with @ and it's included inside HTML. I can say again paragraph @ datetime.isLeapYear and provide, for example, 2016. And now if I run it, and here you receive true isLeapYear and we receive datetime. Now with the exception of the C# await keyword, implicit exceptions must not contain spaces. For example, you can intermediate spaces as long as C# statement has a clear ending. What I mean is that I'm going to create another paragraph and say @await do something, and here hello, and for example world. So we can run them even synchronously if of course we got method that's called do something. Now instead of only implicit Razor expressions, we got explicit Razor expression. Explicit Razor expressions consist of @ symbol with balanced parentheses. So, for example, what we can render is paragraph last week this time, 2 dots, and now say @ brackets, and now inside this bracket we need to have only C# code. And I can say datetime.now minus timespan dot from days, and here give 7 days. Any content with that symbol @ and brackets is evaluated and rendered to the output. Implicit expressions generally cannot contain spaces. For example, if we got again paragraph last week, let's say just last week, @ datetime.now minus timespan.from days 7, that wouldn't run. Why? Because this is no more C# code, that's HTML. Opening the browser, refresh it, and here what we can see. Last week this time, and here we got our expression. This is C#. And here we got last week, which is HTML, that's C#, and that's again HTML. So if we want to have it like C# code, we need just here to put the brackets, and in that way it will run. Now we can use explicit extension to concatenate text with expression result. So what I can do is @ curly braces, I can say var Joe, for example, is equal to, let's say, new person with Joe and 33 as ages. Now new person, we don't have this model, so let's go and create it. Right button, add new folder, models, and here I'm going to add person model. Okay, now what I'm going to say is property string name and property integer age, and I'm going to create a constructor public person which receives string name and integer ages, and say that this dot name is equal to name and this dot age is equal to age. Okay, now here I create the person. Of course, we need to give the path, so this person is in Razor syntax.models.person. And now with that, I can create it. What I can say later is paragraph with age, and after that @ brackets joe.age. Let's see how this will look like. Now, without the explicit extension, this code would be treated as an email address and will look like paragraph age @ joe.age. That's what will be rendered. When writing as an explicit extension, then will be paragraph age 33. Then will be rendered that. And now here we got age 33. So the next thing that we'll take a look at is expression encoding. C# expressions that evaluate to a string are HTML encoded. C# expressions that evaluate to iHTML content are rendered directly through iHTML content.write_to. C# expressions that don't evaluate to HTTP content are recovered to a string by toString method and encoded before they are rendered. For example, if we got this markup @ brackets, and here I'm giving a string. Inside that string I'm going to have span hello world, and here close the span. Okay, if I open it, and here what we receive. We receive the string that actually we have. Also, HTML helper row. Basically, using HTML helper.row on unsanitized user input is security risk. User input might contain some JavaScript code which is dangerous for us. So sanitizing user input is difficult, and we need to avoid using html-helper.row. Now let's come here and say @html.row, and here I'm going to place this code. Now what will happen is this will be rendered, and as you can see, this thing is coming as string, and this thing actually is rendered to real HTML. So that's why it's a little bit dangerous to do that, and in fact we shouldn't do it. Now we got Razor Codebox. Razor Codebox starts with @ and it's enclosed by curly braces. Unlike expressions, C# code inside Codebox is not rendered. Codebox and expressions in Razor page share the same scope and are defined in others. If I say @var output is equal to hello world, which here inside that we're placing only C# code, here I would say the rendered result @output, because output is my variable that I'm using. Coming down to the browser and refresh, and here we can see that we have it. That's rendered to the rendered result hello world. We got implicit transitions, which is basically coming to, again, opening Codebox. What I can say is var in C# is equal to true. Here, what about if I say paragraph now in HTML was in C# in C#? What's going to happen in that case? Coming here, refresh the browser, and what we receive. Now in HTML was in C# and that's true. So here, the moment we start to write any HTML code, it is again rendered by HTML. We got explicit delimited transition. So what I can say is, for example, to define subsection of code block that should render HTML surround the characters to be rendered with Razor text tag. So I can say as for example, here I can have some list of people, or let's just say a new list. For now I'm going to provide people.length var people is equal to new list from person. Okay, just need to here add the namespace Razor syntax .modus.person, and here I'm going to say just new person with some here's some name and age 20, and let's say provide two more, name Joe or Sam. Okay, closing that. Let's just format it. That should be here. Now what's happening? We got a list of people, and here I would like to say give me people.count, for example. Inside that cycle I'm going to say var person is equal to people from I, and here say text text element name person.name, and close it with text. And again, in our case, the result will be name, Joe name, Sam. Okay, so basically it's this is the first element, this is the second element, and this is the third element. So you generally use this approach when you want to render HTML that it's not surrounded by an HTML tag. Without an HTML or Razor tag, you get a Razor runtime error. We got explicit line transition with and two dots. So what I can say, commenting this code, going back here, I can say @for. Here I can say again people.count, and for that reason I'm going to uncomment our code, so we're not going to create again. What I can say now, var person is equal to people from I, and here I can say add two dots, semicolon, name, and here again add person dot name. Come in here, refresh, and we got the same result. This, and this. So basically, with that symbol in our code, without this, we'll have again Razor runtime error. Now, what else we got are control structures. Control structures are an extension of CodeBox. All aspects of CodeBox also apply in the following structures. So, for example, we can have conditional if, else, and switch. What I can say is if, for example, value %2, I don't have value and I'm going to create it, var value is equal to 10. So if I say value %2 is equal to 0, then I'm giving paragraph saying the value was even. Okay, after that I can say else if value is, let's say, bigger or equal to 1337, for example, and I can say paragraph the value is large. The last example is if I say paragraph the value was not large and is odd. Okay, and that's how we can have it. Please pay attention that we got add only on first, and after that it continue without any issues. Of course, we can use switch. So let's say I'm going to say add switch on our value, and we got case. In case that it's 1, paragraph the value is 1. After that, of course, we have break. Let me copy this. In case that it's 1337, I'm going to say that that's the value, and actually I can change it to this. And for example, we can have something that is default paragraph your number was not 1 or 1337. And here give break. Okay, let me open the browser and refresh that. And here what we receive. On the first one, I have if the value is bigger or equal to this, yes, this, the value is large. That's a string. On the second one, I receive the value is 1337. Another thing that we can do is basically we can whoop with, we can use some whoop statements. So again, I have people, we already saw that, but let's see it again. I can say, for example, for each var person in people, and for each of them, I would like to have, let's say, person name and age. So giving paragraph name two dots at person dot name, and the second one will be with age. I can have while, I can have do while, or anything you want. You can have all the loops here and conditional statements. Okay, commanding all this code. Now, let's speak about compound. We compound using, which is at using. If I actually get back the commented code, so we might use it, what I can say at using, and here in brackets give html.begin for. Now basically in C# a using statement is used to ensure an object is disposed. In Razor, this same mechanism can be used to create HTML helpers that contain additional content. For instance, we can utilize HTML helper to render a form tag with at using statement. Now following this code, I'm going to say I would like to have div with some email two dots, and here input with type equals email, ID equals email, name again equals email, and value equals empty. Here I can have button from type submit, and here, okay, that type is submit, and here say register. Okay, come here, refresh, and here what we have. So we got our first whoop for each person, print all of them, we have them, and after that I got that form which is with email, 2 dots, and register. Now we can also perform scope level actions like the tag helpers. So what else we got here is exception handling. I can say at try, and here throw new invalid operation exception, and let's say you did something invalid as message. Coming back to comment this code because we don't need for frontend. Okay, so I have try, and after that I can say catch exception ex, and here paragraph the exception message at x.message. You can have also finally. We know that finally in each case we'll go through it. Doesn't matter if we got exception or no, and the finally statement. What should happen now? We should see the exception message, the message, and the finally statement. Refresh. Yeah, here we got the div that I commented incorrectly. Okay, refresh. The exception message, you did something invalid, and the finally statement. What else we can do? We can, for example, use walk keyword. You can say at walk, some walk, and here, whatever you need, do critical section work. So still you can use this one as well. Okay. We need to fix that commenting. Okay, keep it like that. So how we're doing the commands, we can have, for example, basically this. If I open some code, I can say that, and this will be C# command. What else we can have? We have another C# command, so you can still command it like that. And you can have HTML command, which is with this. Okay, and you got razor syntax command, which we already saw, opening with this and closing with this. So let me add it, razor command. We can have this as well. Now the next thing that we're going to see are directives. Razor directives are represented by implicit extensions with reserved keywords. Following the @ symbol, a directive will typically change the way a page is parsed or enable different functionality within your Razor page. Understanding how Razor generates code for a view will make it easier to understand how directives work, and a Razor page is used to generate C# file. Now, for example, again, var output is equal to hello world, closing it, and here giving, not here, here giving div output 2 dots at output. Now, for example, this Razor page can generate something similar to the following class. We can have public class at views at something, let's say at CSHTML, which inherit Razor page from dynamic. Okay, let's say this is the method which, for example, will be generated. And here, public override async task from execute async. Okay, and here what we would have, var output is equal to hello world, and here write literal, and here pass rn div output 2 dots. Here after that write output and write literal div. So that would be the example class that will be actually generated. Now let's review again using directive. What is actually using directive? Well, coming back to our example with people, so where we were doing for each. Okay, or let's say here. How I'm creating new person? Well, Razor syntax.models.person, and here again repeat the namespace. That basically is not the best practice. So what I can do is remove this, remove the namespaces. Of course now it cannot find person in which namespace is that, and I can here to the top say at using Razor syntax.models, and now you can see that person will work. Okay, now it's working. So similar to original C# code, you can have at usings. The next thing that you can have is at model. Basically, the at model directive allows you to specify the type of the model passed to our Razor page. Usually the syntax is at model, and here we're giving type name of model. For example, in our case, we can say that this could be login view model. And let's go and create it. Inside models, add new class login view model. Okay, and here I'm going to add property string username and property string password. Okay, and so that's the way for defining model. After that, for example, inside where we need to pass it, well, inside our controller, coming to controllers, home controller, inside the index I can say var login view model is equal to new login view model. Need to add the reference, which is using Razor syntax.models, removing unused variables, of course. Okay, and here login view model.username is equal to secret username, and login password could be something like, let's say, 123, which is very secret password, and make it to string. After that, I'm passing the view. Of course, we can add if we want that that's going to index view and login view model. Now, how I'm using it? Coming down, commenting this code, I can say div the login email to dots at model.email, or let's say username. So we're going to change to username. Okay, so you can see that here you're defining the model with lowercase m, and you use it with uppercase m. Let's build it and see what will happen. But the model directive, okay, coming here, and we receive the login username, secret username. Basically, the model directive specifies the type of this property by specifying t from Razor page from t. That is basically generated class for your parent derives. If you don't specify the model directive, the model property will be from type dynamic, and the value of the model is passed from a controller through the view as we saw. The next thing that we can have is inherits. So we can say, removing the model, at inherits, and here let's say type name of class to inherit from. Basically, the inherits gives you full control of the class your Razor page inherits. For example, we can say that we have here, I'm going to say inherits custom Razor page, and I'm going to create such. Add new folder custom Razor pages, and here add new class custom Razor page. What I can say, first I'll need to have using microsoft.aspnetcore.mvc.razor. Okay, then I can say that first this class is abstract class, and here inherit First, actually, it should be from tModel because it's generic, and inherit Razor page from tModel. Just format it, and now I can say public string custom text, which has only get, is equal by default to hello world. Okay, back here I'm saying inherit custom Razor page. Of course, it will need the using, so at using Razor syntax dot custom Razor pages. What I can say is here, commenting this because we no more have model, I can say custom text to dots at custom text. Okay, F5 and building it. Okay, now it's wrong exception, and let's see why. We got custom Razor page like that. Okay, it's complaining that it requires one model. So here you can provide your tModel that, for example, you're going to have. And here we got custom text, hello world. Here we receive it again. Now the next thing that we can see is inject. I'm going to comment all these things. So basically what we can use is @inject. Here coming and say @inject, and here provide basically our class to inject from. Very quick, the inject directive enables you to inject a service from your service container into your Razor page for use. The other thing that we have as directive is @functions. What we can say @functions, that directives enable you to add function level content to our Razor page. For example, we can have functions public string get hello, and here return hello. Okay, after that I can say div from method to dots @get hello, and brackets because it's method. Building it, it's actually already building. F5 and we receive from method hello. The last thing that we're going to see is @section. Coming here and saying @section, basically the section directive is used in, for example, it's used with the layer page to enable views to render content in different parts of the rendered HTML pages. As well, in our Razor syntax, we got tag helpers we're going to review in future lectures. Like, for example, we got @tag helper, remove tag helper prefix. And very important to know is the Razor keywords. So these are functions, inherit, model, section, and helper, but in fact helper is no more supported in .NET Core. Razor keywords can be escaped with @brackets and the Razor keyword. For example, we can say @brackets functions, and in that way we can escape it. We got some C# Razor keywords like case, do, default, for each, if, walk, switch, try, using, and while. C# Razor keywords needs to be double escaped with @bracket C# Razor keyword. So for example, I need to say and here the keyword case. Basically, the first escapes the Razor parser, and the second one escapes the C# parser. Reserved keywords which are not used by Razor are namespace and class. So still they're not used, but maybe in the future they will add something else. So thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed and learned new things about Razor Engine inside ASP.NET Core. Thank you.